like Chucky too. I like Chucky has you know, like the notion is, I mean, the movie's called Child's Play.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, right? So it's something that looks uneventful, unintelligent.
Yeah.
It dresses up to elude you that it's a good guy.
Yeah.
It says good guy. The thing is called good guy.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah.
The package that it comes in says good guy on it. But there couldn't be a more like
perfect metaphor.
Yeah, perfect metaphor. And then
Totally.
and it's you know, it's a weapon in the hands of a child. You know, right? That's what technology is.
Yeah.
Child's play. Yeah, you know, here here you have something you've made, right? And your creation is defining you. And you're defined by the mold you tend to create yourself in.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So it's like, here you are, a living, breathing version, because if you want to be the most despicable character in the world, it's a serial murderer, right? You have to hide in the most unassuming of places,
Yeah.
right, to accomplish your goals.
Yeah.
Right? What better place than in a children's toy?
Yeah.
In a children's fucking toy, dude. The most lascivious place. You give into your hands of your children a tool, a plate, right? A plate that they can program for their own destruction, for their own education.
Yeah.
Right? Anybody can call.
Yeah.
Anybody can send them a message to meet up with them in the middle of the night. Yeah, perhaps. Right? And you know, they can send pictures without you knowing. Your kid can be sending pictures without you knowing to whoever.
Yeah.
You know. It's like you've given your kids something that's basically a program tool for their own destruction, right?
Yeah.
If they don't use it the right way, right? So it's like, you know, it's child's play. Like the Chucky doll.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like you know, it's something we made. We put it in a package. It's so unassuming. It kills people. And what do we do about it? We put it back in the package.
Yeah.
We pretend like it's just. Has no concern for anything other than you itself. Because it's sputtering. It's sputtering, right? Like the fucking axles and the wheels, like who's even fucking turning these fucking gears? Come on. To keep the thing going. So it's kind of you know, you see, it's a mating ritual in a lot of ways, right? Because all mating rituals, well, technology.
Oh, okay.
Technology is the mating ritual. You know, technology is the matchmaker, right? It makes families. I mean, how many families have you known that have met on instant messaging or online? And or, you know, so this thing is creating whole lifestyle. It's creating whole, you know, facets of, you know, influence in terms of its matchmaking. It is a sexual selector.
Yeah.
The technology itself is a sexual selector. How much technology you have, and right, and possibly how that completely goes against Darwin's theory of evolution. You know. Because one of the simplest and most beautiful things I've heard Nietzsche say was that he said that the whole Darwinian evolution, how the survival of the fittest comes to the top. He said it's all bald, short, fat, crazy lunatics that are slobs, and they're running over strong intellectuals.
Yeah.
He said, do you see how civilization produced the hack? You know, right? Yeah. Civilization is the evolutionary hack.
Those tendencies of
yeah, goes completely 180 against all those evolutionary biologists and people who say that all of these our responses and changes, our genetic changes, are going to adapt to the technology. And actually, they were brought on naturally because of our adaptive mechanisms. Nothing could be farther from the truth, right? It's the technology is breeding humans.
Yeah.
Right. It's a sexual selector. It's creating man in its own image. Because the whole family's on the internet. You couldn't maintain your family relations without the bonds that it allows you to have through these No, I'm thinking of how, as we just said, it's underwritten the evolutionary because what evolution is saying is that no matter what, the fittest people are going to rise to the top, right? And what we're saying is that technology provides a hack so that doesn't have to happen. Yeah, they're not six-pack dudes that are like rapping about Aristotle. It was proposed by Dr. Scavino. Was, are we truly separate in experience from the domain of nature? Yeah. And it seemed his answer was always a firm no.
Yeah.
In his sort of Spinozistic form of pantheism, he seemed to think that mind and body were two sides of the same coin, essentially.
I noticed that whether among philosophers, sages, or scholars, even the sort of saints, the saint, the scholar, and the sage had got us into so much issues. They had it's kind of what you said earlier, know your enemy.
You cannot and how do you look at yourself? Right? The finger can't point to itself. Mm-hmm. It's anti-reflexivity, right? The mind has anti-reflexivity in terms of its own thought. Yeah, it's like when you observe the thinking, right? There's thinking, no thoughts. Remember Yuji Krishnamurti was saying, right?
Yeah.
Right, that there's no actual thinking going on, right? That there's just the activity, right? Mm-hmm. But the activity, life is activity, not production. Right? So, and we have to say power is not control. Just because you have the capacity to do something does not mean you have the inclination. Right? Or that there's a control sequence available for you. Control is superior to power in every sense, right? Because control, it lets you pull the levers. I think I'm trying to frame a dialectic in terms of the natural capacity to be able to do something and what it takes to organize. The difference between argumentation and organization. Mm-hmm. The difference between theory and application. Mm-hmm. And how a visible storehouse of power necessarily avoids the ability to be controlled, right? And vice versa. Too much control limits power. Okay. Power and control have a dialectic. Power is not control. It's brain power and the capacity to exhibit mind, right, are two different categories. That's why, in order to use one to understand the other, it's like, separating yourself in order to observe yourself, which is complete duality.
Yeah.
Or even they're quixotically trapped in the agreement that if you observe one piece, you observe the whole. So what they're actually trying to get at is the whole, but they're just not describing it the way they ought to. Because what they're saying is by seeing this piece, we can observe the whole thing. And it's like, what you really want, you want it all, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You don't want a piece of it.
Yeah.
You want to take it in. See, reality is mediated to us by symbols. See, reality is itself a symbol making mechanism. See, what we see as reality today is mediated by the symbols crafted by the cultural technicians of our age. And they're permeated throughout the use of technology. What you see as reality, or what you get, is flickering shadows on a screen. Images of things that are purported to be real. They're not even real. They're symbols. They're symbols handcrafted for your amusement. And these symbols are symbols of things that are not real. Shadows on a flickering screen, mistaken for real things. That's right, the best way is not always the fast way.
Yeah.
And the tongue is the reflection of the heart in so many ways. When you have a non-mediated experience, you feel that people have sincerity. You look in their eyes, you feel what they're saying.
Yeah.
That is an experience that cannot come from black and white words. Right? It's totally obfuscated by the process we use to communicate our terms. So this is the process of enframing. That technology, it seems to always conceal its ends. Yeah, we've gotten to, I think, a heart of an issue, which is that the process of enframing or concealing means, while going for a particular end, and the multiplication of means, the massification of means towards a particular end. What I mean precisely is that, in terms of nature, we can easily draw a dialectic between nature and technology.
Yeah.
And it seems that nature, you have a stream, and the same stream is good for everyone. It has a multiplicity of functions. It seems to spawn from one center and seems to take care of everything. Its function seems to be derived from its inherent quality of being connected to everything else. Now, something that multiplicates its means towards a particular end creates many different processes, but gets to one particular end. It all it's concerned with is the end goal, as we mentioned earlier, which is efficiency. If your end goal is efficiency, then what you hope to achieve at your end is nothing more than a referring back to the process itself. Used to achieve those. It seems that water is a very interesting factor that connects all life. The way water behaves is cyclical. Now we can talk about how water replenishing the soil. How that process was hijacked by the creation of synthetic nitrogen that they used to plug into the soil. Now, when you can have artificially created, replenishing of the soil through synthetic nitrogen, of course you can have year-round fertility, but you're also hijacking the processes of nature. It comes at a cost.
Yeah.
And one of the costs has been in terms of food production. The fact that now that they use monoculture in order to grow food, so because you use synthetic nitrogen, you use it to replenish the soil, because if you use monoculture, indelibly deplete the nutrients of the soil. By compensatory mechanisms. Technology is the solution and the problem.
Yes.
And that's why technology is not neutral. Within your isolated frame of reference, you have to encompass the totality of things.
Yeah.
Because when you separate this part of reality and observe it, you can't possibly comprehend it. If you want to draw a map of reality, it's going to have to be the size of reality.
Yeah.
The whole point in map is it's an abbreviation of reality. But again, we have a symbolization, exactly. And then we have to ask ourselves, in what sense is abbreviation of reality sufficient? In what case is abbreviation of reality appropriate? Right? Yeah, it often reminds me of a similar problem in terms of how language, in order to understand the language, you need a meta-language. It's like how you were telling me before, that a dictionary is absolutely circular because it's using words to define words.
Yeah.
So words, you have to use a reference point outside of itself to define it. Is the set of all sets a member of its own set?
Yeah.
For fuck's sake. So it's like, you get the whole aspect of that. In order to deal with the words, you need to deal with the relation between those words. That telescopes you into an infinite set of relations, because between relations there's other relations.
Yeah.
So it goes into what do you call that? Infinity. Ad infinitum. You can go on ad infinitum.
Yeah.
Between the relation of 1 and 2, there's relation 3.
Yes.
Between the relation of 1, 2, and 3, there's relation 4. Ad infinitum. Another quadratic paradox that what we have here is the notion of change.
Yes.
Change takes all the reserves you have now to make what you are going to become. But to become something, you have to bring in something new. Now the fact there is that even the man who puts himself down respects the voice that does the criticizing.
Yes.
The old Nietzsche quote. So it goes down to, you can't, it's a bootstrapping problem. You can't pull yourself up by your own bootstrap. Change is either inevitable or it's random. If it's random, it can't be controlled. Right? If it's inevitable, then again, you have no stake in the game. Thus, the past is immutable, the future is unknown. And a belief in inevitable progress, that it's going to move up somehow, that things are going to shift. What you have now is not going to be what's there later.
Right.
But everything it takes to have something later is what's there now. So you see, change is a paradox. Do you think you can change the world and improve it? I do not think that this can be done. If you try to change the world, you will ruin it.
Welcome to Central Industrial, part of Correctional Services' rapidly expanding network of new generation facilities dedicated to the goal of humane containment. We are the future in containment. Welcome to Central Industrial, part of Correctional Services' rapidly expanding network of new generation facilities dedicated to the goal of humane containment. We are the future in containment.
They've been saying it started at the beginning of the year. But that's not true. They've been saying it started at the beginning of the year. But that's not true.
Welcome to Central Industrial. We are the future in containment.
Saying it started at the beginning of the year, but that's not true. It started a long way before that, about 3 years ago. They started bringing in a different kind of inmate. They brought in the hardcore subversives, drawing young punks, and they knew what they'd become. What else could they become? Punks with chips on their shoulders, killers for heroes. It's crazy. They've been saying it started at the beginning of the year. That's
Hello, friends. Welcome to The Machine Lies, where we talk about how the machine lies on the machine that lies. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're here to talk about a very important issue about whether technology is neutral. Now, we're familiar with the term that one cannot be neutral on a moving train, but we find that technology, it keeps us constantly in motion, and we're not able to realize or have a preponderance over whether its use entails something good or bad. Now, many people are willing to say that it doesn't matter if technology is good or bad. What matters is really the intentions of the user. But we're here to maybe dispel that myth. Now, you can't be neutral on a moving train, and technology is certainly not a neutral engagement. Every engagement we have with the machine, we have to ask several questions about whether it's neutral or not. The first question we would have to ask is, if technology were neutral, then its use would be optional for us. Now, we're very aware that whoever is controlling the nuclear plant several miles away has very much to do with the welfare of our lives. We find that the nuclear plant is made of a reactor that mainly boils water and turns turbines. These turbines produce electrical power, but none of us has the wherewithal or the know-how in order to engineer nuclear energy. See, our basic amenities of life are controlled by experts that we never meet by face and name, and whose expertise we could never even begin to assimilate. And this is the type of situation we're placed in. We're placed in a situation where we've created a nuclear reactor that you can't shut off for 50,000 years. Thousands of years, this thing is going to stay radioactive. I mean, I don't know the figures, but the fact is that they're going to have to keep pouring water over this thing for thousands of years. And who's going to be there to manage it? No civilization that we know has lasted that long, my friends. So it will have to be a question, won't it? Now, we see that the use of technology is not optional. We also want to ask that if technology were neutral, its use would be mainly under human control. But we find that the situation is precisely the reverse. We hear from Marshall McLuhan that the medium is the message, and who controls your eyeballs controls your brain. Now, it's very clear to us that if somebody can tell you what to see and hear, they can tell you what to think and say. And this is called programming. Now, we're all programmed at an early age, and these programs reflect how we communicate with the world. Technology is a force for communication, it's a force for culture, and it's also, as such, it falls into an oxymoronic category that puts it as biotechne. Now, this term biotechne is a very, I say, anthropomorphic term. It's a term that's using, comparing nature to machines that are produced by humans. But then we also have to ask ourselves, how come so much of nature resembles machines we produce? And also, why are all of the machines we produce made of a second-order nature, a nature-produced nature? Technology is no different from something that is, all the supplies to produce technology come from nature. So, would its use be neutral if we don't control the supplies that we use in order to engage in technological use? This would be another question. Another fundamental issue is, if technology were neutral, the risks for technology would be manageable. Technology would present manageable risks, but we see when they manufacture something like aspartame, for example. Aspartame is 200 times sweeter than sugar. It's highly carcinogenic, and it's actually made from a substance that's released when E. coli bacteria are fed petroleum, according to my research. And the stuff that E. coli bacteria shits out is basically what aspartame is. Used to sweeten yogurts, gum sticks, and several other items. And the shit that shits out? yeah, the shit that E. coli bacteria is shitting out. That's what aspartame is. friends, right? If scientists knew that the risk of using such a substance were manageable, would they really distribute it to so widely to the population? It seems like technological innovation, and this moves us to our next issue. If technology were neutral, then the negative side effects would be incidental to the use of technology and not inherent in the use of the technology. But we see that every machine is doubly a killing machine. The first thing we see is the very internet that we use to broadcast these statements. I mean, the internet was invented as a tool for the military to control air traffic. So it was not founded as a tool to help the average citizen to communicate. No, it trickled down there. And still, if a kid has a cell phone, they're in constant contact with maybe anybody in the world. Nobody can control really who they're in contact with. So this is another fundamental issue, is that we don't really govern how technology is to be used. And yet it is a deadly force. I guess another fundamental issue in the issues of technology would be whether technology is, whether the benefits and the costs of technology are evenly distributed. It would seem to us that some of the real issues of technology stem from the fact that that technology has effectively forced the indigenous people of this world to adopt similar technology in order to boost their chances of survival or get wiped off the face of the planet. They have no choice. Right? That brings us back to the first thing we said. Is technology optional? We find that its use is not optional. Furthermore, we could also say that in the third world, people are forced to democratize. And this is the very effect of democratic values that are used to govern a mass population that's really controlled by the technological means, because the technological means are the very means of socialization, and they govern how population responds, and we find that the democratic movement is spreading, and it's spreading by spreading technology. And as such, it's paradoxically wiping out all the indigenous people of the planet. Not very democratic, by the way. Shouldn't we allow everyone to be who they are? Right? But see, this is the very effect of over-socialization. Once you accept the technological means of communication, you also accept foreign cultures. And you cannot, and your old traditions cannot keep up with these foreign cultural influences. And so we find that the benefits and costs of the technology are not evenly distributed. We also would have to find that that technology does not seem to create a net benefit in terms of the existential risks provided through its use. Does it create a net benefit in terms of human welfare? Well, we find that one of the factors of the technological age is sort of foggy somatic detachment, a sort of a numbness. This sort of numbness is basically perpetuated by the fact that we have to deal with the cold, hard steel fact of technology. And it alienates us. It alienates us from society. It alienates us from each other. And furthermore, it creates a dualism between man and nature, between nature and his body. Another aspect of technology would be that you cannot control the speed of innovation. You cannot control the speed of technological movements. Indeed, we find that in the cities, people are sped up. The more steps they take, and the more words they say are dependent on how many people are in the city. It seems that the city is actually speeding people up, boosting up their speed. You can't separate technology. A city is a good example. You can't really separate technology from the total ensemble of needs. Technology, you have to think as a total package. It's something that governs almost every aspect of your life. If you use one part of the technological system, you're relying on a whole host of a whole chain of supply, if you will. I guess this leads us to the last one, and that would be that if technology were neutral, you could produce it without the use of experts. But technology, in every sense, promotes the rule of experts. It makes us reliant on experts to govern and control our lives. So that is all we have today. I hope you will join us to further explore these questions, and I hope you have clarity to see through all of these lies. Take care, my friends.
Take him outside, see to the remains. If he lives, then I'll decide what to do with him later. Take your punishment like a Decepticon. Don't be fucking around the live hooligan. Straight go tell him you disrespect. I'll do more than break your neck, go through your chest. Fuck you and your vest. I confess that this military hardware is hard to this star. Cause I'm no shine, give it glare. In a giant of mine, I'll let it shine. Transform it to the weapon, reload the carbine. Sickening up the mind. The program came from Cybertron and it's heart and it's sicking Toyo's apart. All apart. You ain't got a redneck truck, so I had to rip his fucking head off, disrespect and kill the schmuck. And after the movie, his body turned gray, and I got disrespected, but I came back with gun spray. Shoot him in the face and straight to dismantle, disintegrate the laser in the ionic fate.
You were good at this crime, but not good enough to fight Megatron.
Shut the fuck up.
And so the battle ends.